Hey guys, I've said it before on the channel, but growing up, I remember vividly, I must have been 4. It was before kindergarten. I remember I've always had voices in my head, but they were never in my head. It wasn't like a little voice I made up. It's that I've always been something greater than my body. I think it's the 11, being born on the 11th, and I think it's the stellium of 4 different planets in Aquarius in the 10th house. My moon in Aquarius, Mars, Neptune, Uranus, all in the 10th house. I just, something about me, I think I just have a greater level of communication with things. And I had things that would speak to me since I was born. Like my earliest memory, they were there. Whatever it is. Whether it's God or an angel or Jesus or aliens or spirit guides or whatever. And it's much more than just like something there. It's a bunch of different stuff. But I remember my favorite thing was like this. I couldn't sleep at night. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't lay in bed. I couldn't do anything unless I would wrap myself completely in the blanket over my eyes and just enough for my nose. And then I would recluse into my body. And my body was a nest, and I was living in my body as if it was a den. And that's how I survived life. That's the only way I could, that was I don't know. And then as I got older, I would sleep in a refrigerator box on my mattress. So it'd be a big refrigerator box with just a little crack right there for air and everything completely walled off. I couldn't sleep well in foster homes. I couldn't sleep well in DCF. The only way I could sleep is if I locked my door. And if I didn't lock my door, I had to get under the blankets like that in the den. Everywhere I went, my foster parents used to be pissed at me because the only way I could get to sleep, the only way I could be comfortable, is if I had like thrown all my clothes around the bed. And it wasn't like I was consciously doing it, but I just, as I'm thinking about other things, I would leave my clothes on the floor and sort of spread out my belongings around the bed. So when I had like all my clothes on the floor around the bed, then I was able to sleep comfortably because I felt like I had my den. So I don't think it's a coincidence that my life took this turn that forced me into a car where I would build a nest in the back of the car and I'd sleep in the nest. And I don't, my whole life I felt out of place, but living in the dens like this, sleeping outside in the woods, digging myself into a burrow, and living in the burrow in a den. That's my purpose. I think even in a mansion, I would still build myself, like my room would be rustic with like whittled wood, and I would be in my own cubby. I would turn the bed into a den. It would just be really nice. That's the only way. It's the only way I can get into alignment, if that makes sense. The only way I can really start to be and feel like myself is when I get this space like this. I don't know why, but I have a feeling like that I keep finding these polar bear animals. Like every adventure I go on, I've got like a collection of 7 or 8 different big polar bear stuff. And my dad has polar bear stuff throughout his life. There's even the one picture I can find of me at my dad's. I'm in the snow and I've got a red, obviously, I've got a red and black coat, the O'Brien colors, the red, black, and gold. And I'm holding a can of Coke, like the polar bear for Coca-Cola. And I was pretending, like, he asked me to take a picture and I had a can of Coke, and I was like, I remembered seeing the polar bear. Polar bears need 100 miles of space, and they can tell when other polar bears are in there, or other animals, and they'll go like 50 miles to kill them. Polar bears need this huge open space, and polar bears are dying, and their land is destroyed. So if I'm in tune with polar bears, as if spiritually I'm still connected from like a recent past life, it would make sense that my story unfolded in a way that revolves around the fallen kingdom and all my land being taken and forced to take this ancient way into the new world. So, whatever, I mean, I had the dream that I was on a cabin on top of a mountain, and I was happy, and the cabin was not like a bushcraft, it was like a nice setup, and I had Wi-Fi, good computer, good guitar, it was clean in there. So, I think that's a solid goal. I don't want to waste my youth. I know I've already wasted most of my life. I did fight, and I built relationships, and I had friends, and I had relationships with, I had a fulfilling social and intimate life as a child and teenager. Not really as a child, but from like 15 to 19, 15 to 20. No, 15 to late 19. I'm pretty happy with how that turned out. But then from 19 to 25 now, 6 years, going on 7 years, has been hell. Brought to the worst parts of human existence and complete mental dysfunction because of external circumstances. And I had to fight to preserve myself, and I had to fight to keep myself and keep going through the mental degradation of living in survival and severe trauma with no help, no one that understood, and every relationship was parasitic and disgusting. And then it's just been like one step forward, kick me down the stairs, like get back up and climb up again. They kick me down, I climb up further. And there's beauty in that. There's strength in that. I'm proud of who I'm becoming. There's just a lot of stuff in spirit that I haven't figured out. Like things that consistently torture me. And it has to do with my ability as an empath. And toxic relationships that I don't know how to fix without it draining me. So I'm fighting to get to this abundance so that I get this infinite wealth so that I can just overpower them with grace. I'm trying to forgive them, but it's hard to stop their influence. It's hard to stop what feels like traumatic systems in place, that when I start to create something and be myself, I get back to myself and I start to become myself again. It feels like they have like vacuums or suction cups that siphon it all, and I end up empty again. And I'm like, I wonder where it's going. But at the very least, my heroes are falling, and I'm remaining. I'm growing. And I continue to get up, and even if it's bare minimum, I'm still trying to make progress. I still make even if it's nothing, like barely anything, like moving trash from one side to the other. I'm still going. And I owe it to the people that support me financially. I don't know how much of a burden it is, and I don't get much. But that's the only way I've been able to buy tools, gym equipment, food, phone service, replacements for stuff like this tent, which mice have eaten through. There's a bunch of holes in the bottom. Spiders crawl up on me at night. But I have a new tent I got from saving. So without that, I would have been dead. I would have died last year. I know it. John Michael fell, and he died in 5 minutes. I don't know how I survived. And the McDonald's would have kicked me out if I didn't pay them every time. Like, the whole community was against me in 5 or 6 different towns. My phone's gonna go out, but I wanted to say that I planted myself and I kept going because fuck those guys. I'm gonna go out. If I want to leave their town, I'm gonna leave on my own terms. The more they try to make me feel unwelcome, I love that shit. I love that shit. It's fuel. I love leaving this forest knowing that they're all talking shit about me. And I love how I look. I loved having the shit crazy hair because it's a big fuck you. And past the fuck you, they see my growth and the progress I'm making. Everything I do is impactful to people that I don't even know how many. So with that, I bid you guys adieu. Good night. I'm waiting on my Walmart delivery. It's going to storm all day today. Heavy rain. I'm going to cook some eggs, have a warm meal in the cabin, and continue watching my Minecraft videos and fantasizing about the day I'll get a computer. Good night.